Today we're going to be looking at a bunny baby set. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel Kazzalistic. Hi to my new subscribers, thank you very much for joining me on my crochet vlog channel. So today we're going to be looking at this bunny baby set which consists of a bunny hat. This is actually my favourite part of the set. So cute. Really pleased with how this has come out. Then we have a, as you would call it in America, a diaper cover, or if you're in the UK it's a nappy cover. And it's got a little bunny tail. Not the most practical thing, I will acknowledge, but super cute if you want to do a photo shoot or something like that. Hey, and if you, I don't know, I just thought it was cute. So that probably isn't the most practical thing, but of course you could leave the pom-pom off. And then also it comes with a pair of little booties with little pom-poms on just to match. So the pattern is a baby bunny set, and it's by Always Pretty in Pink. There we go. And I'll show you what her set looked like. So that's what her set looked like. Obviously she's used a lighter pink for the inner ears, but I had to sort of use what I had. I think it's worked okay. So I'm going to start with the yarn that I've used, and then we'll get into the pattern. So for the main components, so sort of the main body of the hat, the main body on the booties and the cover, I've actually used, it called for US worsted weight yarn, which is the equivalent to our Aran weight here in the UK. So I've used Jarrell Baby Rambler Aran. It's 100% acrylic, 100 gram ball, which is 177 meters, and the shade is 4300. No, it's not going to focus. Have a little trouble, but it's 4300 anyway. So it's basically just a white. This is very kindly donated by Kim, who's Blue Cherub 82. So I will link her channel down in the description so you can find her if you've not come across her before. And then for the edging on basically everything. So there's edging on the top of the booties, on the ears and the hat, and obviously the pom-poms. I've used Sirdar Snuggly Snowflake Chunky. These are 25 gram balls, 100% polyester, 62 meters or 68 yards. Shade is 0631. Sort of in focus, sort of vaguely. That was very kindly donated by Sian from Sian's Crafty Corner, so again I will link her channel down in the description. She's almost at that crucial 1,000 sub mark, so if you're not subscribed, please go across and subscribe to her. And this one, which I've used for the inner ear part of the bunny ears, again is from Sian from Sian's Crafty Corner, and it's Sirdar Snuggly Snowflake Chunky again. It's exactly the same yarn. So obviously it's got the same fibre content and yardage, and this one is shade 0715. So that's sort of a purpley, sort of pinky purpley colour. So as you can see, I had quite a lot left of that 25 gram ball. That's what I had left of that one. This was a 100 gram ball, so as you can see it's using the whole ball. So you just need two small balls for the edging and the inner ears, and you'll need a 100 gram ball for everything else. Hook sizes for the hat and the nappy cover or diaper cover, we used a 4.5mm hook. This one was kindly donated by Katrina for Katrina's Creations, so I'm going to link her down in the description as well. The booties were a 5mm hook. This was very kindly donated by the lovely Sandra, who is one of my subscribers. Don't think Sandra has a channel, so thank you all ladies that have contributed to this. I couldn't do it without you all. Okay, so this is all fairly simple. I'm not going to go row by row because we'll be here forever and a day, and to be honest it's fairly straightforward. So let me just flick to just prompt myself. So the reason you do the booties was basically the pattern. You can either do it for a newborn, which would be a 4mm hook, or a 0 to 3 month baby, which would be a 4.5mm hook. That's for the nappy cover and the hat. And then for the booties, if you did want to do a newborn size, you would use the 4.5mm hook for newborn and 5 for the 0 to 3. So I've obviously done the 0 to 3 years. So for the hat, you start with a chain 2. I was just trying to remember if it was a magic ring or not. It's a chain 2, and then you're working US double crochets into the second chain from the hook. And then basically you're just doing increased bog standard US double crochets, that's UK trebles, and you're increasing for 4 rows. So you do 4 row increases. Rows 5 to 9 are straight 1 double crochet in each stitch. It's US terminology. And then the last round you do a single crochet round, which is obviously at the bottom. You then fasten off, weave in your ends, and then you change to your fluffy yarn, whichever you choose to use. So for me it's a Serdar Snuggly, and you are single crocheting in each stitch round, so it gives you this nice little fluffy border. Nice and simple, huh? Worked up really quickly. Okay, for the ears, you're starting with a chain 5, and then you're working, so you're starting from this point basically and working up the ear. So you start off with straight single crochet rows. So you do that for 4 rows, and then rows 5 to 7 you're changing to half double crochets, and at the end of each of those rows you're putting in 2 double crochets, yeah, 2 half double crochets, sorry. And then from then on, once you get past row 7, rows 8 to 25 are straight half double crochet rows. I'll show you this so you can see. So you're just working backwards and forwards in half double crochet. That's US terms, half treble if you're in the UK, and you're working your way up. And then for the last couple of rows, all you're doing is at the end of each row, for the last couple of rows, you're doing half double crochet US terms 2 together. So that's half treble 2 together if you're in the UK, and finish off. So you make 2 of those. You then border it, so you're doing single crochets with the fluffy yarn all the way around, so 1 in the end of each row, and obviously in each stitch, the top and bottom. And then the inner ear is basically made in the same way, but you're only starting with a chain 3, and it basically follows the same formula. So you've got increase here and then straight rows, and you work that straight the way down, and again you've got a couple of half double crochets at the end of the last row, and that's it. I'm not going to go into minute detail. And then obviously you stitch that onto the inner ear. You make 2 of those, so you have a matching pair, and then you stitch the ears onto the hat. I think that's come out so cute. I think that alone is worth getting the pattern for. So adorable. Still a practical hat, but just, it's so cute. I love that. So the ears are definitely my favourite bit. Okay, for the nappy or diaper cover, basically you start with a long chain. So I'll show you this buttoned up, and then I'm going to unbutton it to basically show you what it's like. Now, I have used a slightly bigger button than perhaps I should have, but it was all that I had available at the time, and I'm now regretting. I think I should have put a smaller button in, but that's all I had, so I'm just getting it undone. So I can undo it, it's just a little bit stiff. So basically this is the shape that you're creating. So you're starting along the top edge with a chain. and then you do a single crochet row in each stitch, and then a double crochet row, which is this row right here. You do one double crochet row. This is US terminology, so if you're in the UK you'll start off with double crochets and then you do a treble crochet row. And then basically you're working in single crochet for the next row. So again, you just underneath the double crochet you've got a single crochet row. Then the next row you're slip stitching in the first 10 stitches, which obviously takes you to this point here. You chain one, you half double crochet in the same stitch, and then you half double crochet all the way along, and you do that for 27 stitches, which makes you stop at this point. So that's how you create that point. Then you're working backwards and forwards across, so you don't need to work on those bits anymore, if that makes sense. And then most of the rows are just half double crochets across, and then when you get to row 8 you do half double crochet 2 together at either end. The next row you do a straight half double crochet row. This is US terminology. The next row you do half double crochets at the end of each row, and from that point on, so for rows 11 to 16 you're doing half double crochets at the end of each row. Really simple. Yeah, and then row 17 is a straight half double crochet row, and then you've got rows 18 to 28 are just half doubles. So when you're basically doing the half double 2 together, basically it's pinching it in, and then you're just working backwards and forwards. It's really not difficult to you know, explain. Yeah, that's basically it. You single crochet right the way around, so that's double crochet for you in the UK, all the way around with the fluffy yarn, and then you basically fold it like that. You fold it like that and like that, doesn't matter which way, and then you work out where your button needs to go, you put it on, and then the button basically threads through where your double crochet, US doubles or UK trebles there, so you don't actually create a buttonhole, the button just pushes through, and as you can see it has moved the stitches a bit naturally. And then you create a pom-pom. So I used a pom-pom maker. I just kind of eyeballed the size. Now the only thing I will say with the Sirdar Snuggly, so this stuff here, when you're making pom-poms, it didn't cut very well to make it a nice round shape, so I found it was actually easier to mould it with your hands. So if you do choose to use that, just be aware of that. And then the booties, wow, you start with a chain 8, and then you're working like with most booties, up and down either side of the chain. There are some single crochet, half double crochet combinations at the top here. When you get to this point, you're working in the back loop only, which obviously then creates the boot to do sort of work round, and you're working round, and then obviously at the front of the booty, as is normal, you will do some, I think they were half, no, they're single crochet, so most of this is in single crochet. You've got some half doubles in the front, single crocheting 2 together in the front, and then single crocheting all the way around. You're basically decreasing at the front, working your way around normally at the back. It's just 9 rounds for that, and then you make a little pom-pom, so I use my smallest pom-pom maker and just sew it on, and then you do single crochet row with the fluffy yarn around the edge. So that's it. I hope I've explained that okay. I'm trying not to give too much away, because obviously it's always a sensitive issue with designers and patterns. I just want to give you a rough idea of how it looks. So booties, diaper cover, and the gorgeous bunny hat. I think it's worth getting the pattern just for the hat, to be quite honest with you. So that's it. I hope I've explained that okay. It's always a delicate line between giving you an idea of how the pattern works and not giving too much away. So I hope that's given you enough to sort of whet your appetite. Pattern was very well written. The only thing I will say is some rows do have stitch counts, some rows don't have stitch count at the end. So if you are a newbie, you do need to watch out for that. The diaper cover had more stitch counts at the end, so it was a lot easier to follow. I found with the hat hat wasn't too bad. It was the booties I struggled with the most out of the pattern, because it didn't have how many stitches on the booty in particular. The only thing I will say with the booty on row 3, now I don't know if this was my mistake or a mistake in the pattern, so it's just something to be aware of. On row 3 she told you to chain 1 to single crochet in the first 7 stitches, then half double crochet, single crochet combination in the next 6 stitches, so you're doing both those stitches in each stitch, and then single crochet in the next 8, but it actually left me with 2 stitches left over, so I think it should have been single crochet, which is all US terminology, in the next 10. So that is actually what I did. So I don't know if that was her mistake or my mistake, but that was the only issue I had with the pattern. So that's it for the crochet bit. Life update. What have I been doing this week? Main events have been, I've been to the dump to get rid of a mountain of cardboard that we've accumulated over the Christmas period. And for my birthdays, you know what it's like with packaging, so I try and take that to the local dump. They have massive skips, and it all gets recycled. We can't put cardboard in our recycling bins here. They don't accept it, which to me is just ludicrous, but so I do take that to the dump periodically. So I got rid of that because we had an absolute mountain. I've also donated, and we had a travel cot that we were using for my friend's niece. We used to have her 4 days a week a few years ago. She's 6, nearly 7 now, so she's far too big for the cot. We were tripping over it. As a travel cot, it was in immaculate condition, so I've donated that to a local charity that specifically helps people that are on benefits and low income, so I'm hoping that that will help a young mum out. So donated that. Had my eyebrows waxed so I look all girly again. And main event really has been, my mum has, I can't remember if I've mentioned this, but my mum, since the last lot of high winds we've had, has had issues with her skybox. She's got a FreeSat skybox, which means she paid a one-off fee for the box and the dish, and she uses it with what we call Freeview here in the UK, or FreeSat it's called, and it's on a satellite box. And she's getting no signal. So I've tried taking our skybox, which we use as a Freeview box as well, try plugging that in, nothing. We rang Sky, and we rang the FreeSat bit. Mum had rung earlier in the week. They told her she didn't have an account, but she didn't have an account number when she rang, so I tried ringing on Thursday on her behalf. I gave them the account number, no record, gave them the address, no record of her. I even gave them the card number from the Sky box. They told me what to do and what to go into. Gave them that, no record of the card number. They actually told my mum that it couldn't have been Sky that installed it, but it was definitely Sky. She rang Sky. It was a Sky van that came. It was a Sky engineer, and they put it all in. But apparently, I mean, she's had it since 2006, so she has had it a long while, but apparently they've deleted all records of her. So I wasn't very impressed, and so I said to them, well, can we get an engineer to come out anyway? He told me the engineer would be £65, but because they can't find her account, they can't send anybody. So completely ludicrous, and the only thing we could do is either claim on her house insurance or get a private engineer out. Well, I'm not going to claim just for that, when it's probably just a silly little fault. So I looked up what I thought was a local company. It had a local number for where I live. Booked an appointment for yesterday for somebody to come out, and it was a free, no obligation quote. So they'd come out, they'd tell you what's wrong, and if you chose to go ahead, they would repair it there and then. Great, I thought. So they said they'd ring my mum between 8 and 9 to give her a confirmed time, but they would expect to be there between 10 and 12. So I got up really early yesterday, went over to my mum's because she likes me to be there. You know, she's getting on, so it's kind of a protective thing for her. And yeah, I got there early and we sat there. 10 o'clock came, 12 o'clock came, nobody came. Then we had a missed call. It went straight to answer phone for some reason. The engineer ringing, asking if we could ring the office. So we rang the office and they gave us an update saying it would be between 1 and 4 PM. Okay, fair enough, at least they've told us. So we sit there all afternoon, 4 o'clock comes, nobody's turned up. So I ring the company again to complain. I explain that I've had to leave the person that I care for all day and it wasn't okay, I needed to get back. They apologised and said it was just an estimated time, which I appreciated. He would speak to the engineer and get somebody to call me straight back. I waited 2 hours for a phone call and they didn't call me back. So at 6 o'clock I rang them, very annoyed, shall we say politely, and told them to not bother turning up, and explained that I needed to go home because I'm a carer and, you know, my friend had been without care all day, and I couldn't wait any longer. I'd sort of pushed the boundary as it was, and yeah, they then had the cheek to ask if I wanted to rebook. So I politely told them no. That wasn't quite what I wanted to say. So we've spoken to one of our neighbours because she's got an aerial issue as well. She has a guy that she has used before that is definitely local. So he's on holiday at the moment, so we're going to actually approach him instead. When I looked at the company to try and find out what their working hours were, there was no working hours shown, and actually when I looked further into their website, it was a national company even though it had a local number, so I wasn't impressed. I'm not going to name names because I'm not that kind of person, but absolutely service. So they're not going to get any money out of us, so that's their loss. Waste of my day. I did, however, take my crochet with me, and amongst the doggy cuddles that I had, which was many, because my mum still has one remaining dog, I had lots of cuddles, and I started working with the So Crafty yarn from Aldi that Amanda very kindly sent me. Found a really lovely bear pattern, so I've almost completed the bear, and it's enormous. He's like this big, so that will probably be sometime next week. I'm so in love with it, I don't know how I'm actually going to let it go. It's just worked up beautifully, so I'm really excited to show you guys that. So it wasn't a completely wasted day. I got to go show how long I was sat there for, I got almost an entire amigurumi bear done. I've literally just got to make some eyes because this is so big that the safety eyes I've got are just not big enough. So I've got to create some eyes, and I've just got to put the head on the body and just sew the arms on, and I'm done. That's how much time I had yesterday. So apart from that, all is well with the world. So obviously that was a little bit annoying yesterday, but I'm fine. So we're all back to normal now. So my mum's popping over very shortly with said doggy, so I shall get some more doggy cuddles in a minute. So I'm going to end here. So I hope you're all well wherever you are in the world. Have you had any dramas in this week? Let me know down in the comments. And thank you all for your lovely support about me talking about mental health. That has really encouraged me. So I'm going to start putting my thinking cap on. Obviously it's going to take a little bit of planning because it's such difficult subjects and topics to do. I want to make sure that I do them justice, but that will definitely be coming up. So thank you to all of you that have supported me with that. I really appreciate that. So I'm going to end it here. Hope you're all well wherever you are in the world, and until next time, remember to stay well, happy crafting, and until next time, remember to stay true to yourself. Bye!